Want to know a song that I have horribly underrated? Do you want to know maybe the single biggest mistake I have made as an internet song professor? I had no idea how deep In the Night by The Weeknd is. This stuff is real. Before I started filming this video, while I was doing my research, watching the music video, listening to the song, reading the lyrics, I just sat there blinking. My mind was and still is blown. The Weeknd actually came up for the idea for the song in Marilyn Monroe's old bedroom. Marilyn Monroe was a sexual abuse survivor, and that's exactly what this song is about. Not Marilyn Monroe particularly, but about a sexual abuse survivor. I knew The Weeknd was deep, but I did not know he talked about this kind of stuff. Basically, most of what The Weeknd writes is about his messed upness, the women he meets, and the drugs he uses. And one of the most interesting things is that he literally creates character sketches of some of these women that he meets. It's not just, she was hot, we had sex, though there is plenty of that, but it actually gets deep into their characters and who they are. It's almost like reading a 10th grade literature assignment, and it's really deep and it's in song form. False Alarm is about a woman who wants money rather than love. 28 is about a fan who can't keep his secrets. And In the Night is about a woman who was sexually abused, probably as a child. And by unique, I literally mean unique because in the song, 80% of the words are not repeated, not counting choruses. And it involves some of the least rhyming. This song is all about the story. And just to keep things from getting too gritty or too unsafe for other audiences, he cloaks a lot of important parts of it in metaphors, particularly as we'll see in verse 2. So let's jump into it. In verse 1 we hear, all alone she was living in a world without an end or beginning. Her life was directionless, didn't feel like it was going anywhere, there was no purpose. She was living for the feeling and she was numb and she was so codependent. So she's looking for something to make her feel alive and she's codependent on other people, which means she requires having somebody else tell her that she's worthwhile, which is a really dangerous place to be. But The Weeknd at the end says, but I don't mind, I don't mind. This isn't because he's trying to use her, but I think it's because he finds her interesting. And maybe he's really just such a laid-back guy in the song that he doesn't mind being there to be there for somebody else. The pre-chorus talks about how even though she has these issues, she's still an incredible person. And I know that she's capable of anything, but when you wake up, she's always gone. So she may be intelligent and capable and all of this good stuff, but she's still working through some emotional issues. And so she'll have sex with a person for one night, but she doesn't stick around, which is kind of a metaphor for how maybe she won't stick around for a solid, emotionally committed relationship. Oh man, the chorus is intense. And the night she hears him calling, and the night she's dancing to relieve the pain, and the night when she comes crawling, dollar bills and tears keep falling down her face, because she has developed an unhealthy view of what sex is, which happens to many people who suffer sexual abuse as a child, she has become a stripper. She works at a strip club and sells her body. Maybe that's because she feels like that's the only thing that's valuable about her, but it doesn't make her feel better about herself. Dollar bills and tears keep falling down her face. She's still hurting. He says at the end of the chorus, I don't think you understand. It's something that because we have lived sheltered lives and don't know what this feeling is, that we'll probably never be able to empathize with her. Verse 2 has a very interesting metaphor in it. He sang a song when he did it, abused her. He was cold and he was so unforgiving. Now she dances to the song in the minute, yeah, all the time, all the time. That song could be a literal song and could be something that hurts her to hear, but I think it's also symbolic of an attitude or a mindset that he has put onto her because of what he did. He's influenced the rest of her life. He's made her think differently about herself. And we hear the line, she was young and she was forced to be a woman, so we don't know how old she was when it happened. And there's not an age where something like that is okay for it to happen. But sometimes it's especially terrifying and horrifying to hear about it happening to children. It's just horrifying all around. As far as the music video goes, it's cinematically very interesting, even though it's not safe for all audiences. Essentially, this woman was cornered and abused by this group of wealthy men, and then later, maybe a couple years later, that same group of guys goes to a strip club. They don't recognize her, but one of the lead strippers is the girl that they abused. But she recognizes them, and in the last third of the music video, the strippers kill these men. The woman who was abused also sees The Weeknd about to be shot by one of these guys, saves him at the last minute, and then rides away with him on a motorcycle. Obviously, the music video is a little bit different from the song, and I think it actually cheapens the lyrics. It's always a really good story when somebody who was powerless is able to take back the power in a situation. But I think the lyrics are a beautiful, sad description of this hurting person, and the only way the music video could have been more like a cheap action flick is if a helicopter had blown up. And if you could have understood what the heck was going on with all of like the really weird jump cuts and graphics and everything. So not a big fan of the music video, but I do like these lyrics. I think the most powerful thing about In the Night is the same thing that I love about The Hills. In The Hills, The Weeknd talks about some of his own insecurities and weaknesses, and here in the Night, he's talking about somebody else's. And that's what it's about for The Weeknd, taking interesting, powerful looks into the lives of people and showing everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that's why In the Night is so powerful. Hey everybody, thanks so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please comment a song by The Weeknd that you want to hear me explain in the future, and I'll talk to you next time. Oh, and you have to check out my video about how The Weeknd writes lyrics. That's all for now. Bye.